The lead story for to the lead story today for Geek News Central. My God, the lead story today for Geek News Central. Sora, the cutting edge AI video generation model, moves beyond research with the launch of Sora Turbo, available at Sora.com for ChatGPT Plus and Pro users. The model offers faster video creation with resolutions up to 1080p and versatile aspect ratios, features including a storyboard tool, remixing options, and community generated content feeds. Sora's release emphasizes transparency and safety with safeguards like metadata and watermarks to curb misuse. The Pro plan unlocks higher resolutions and extends usage, empowering users to redefine storytelling. Welcome to episode 1785, coming to this Monday, December 9th. I'm your host, Todd Cochran, ready to deliver your tech news and information fix. A quick shout out to our incredible sponsor at GoDaddy. Score exclusive deals and discounts at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. To all our fantastic listeners, you are the heartbeat of the show. If you want to support the GNC mission, head to geeknewscentral.com/insider and become a GNC insider. We're lit and live thanks to modern podcast apps. Don't just listen, experience the show live by grabbing a modern podcast app at podcastapps.com. You can interact in a real time and take your podcasting experience to the next level. And of course, while you're at it, check out the full Geek News Central universe at geeknewscentral.com, where you find all our partner shows, tons of content, and more tech goodness. If you want to stay in the loop, follow or subscribe via your favorite podcast app and join the community. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter for even more insider scoops. And have something to say? Join the conversation at geeknews.chat or email geeknews@gmail.com. You can hit me up on X at Geek News. And of course, you can even catch me on Facebook. And of course, Geek News Central listeners, savings begin here. Are you ready for some fantastic GoDaddy deals? Well, yes, I have them for you. Get exclusive savings right now at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy with our GoDaddy promo code, straight from Geek News Central, your home for the latest tech news. Want to start a website or a podcast? Our codes make it easy and affordable. Grab GoDaddy's economy hosting for just $6.99 a month. That's a full year of hosting with a free domain name, professional email, and an SSL certificate. Grab or click the promo code for WordPress hosting. WordPress managed WordPress hosting is just $12.99 a month, which includes, again, a free domain, professional email, and an SSL certificate. Do you need a domain name? Get yours for just $11.99. That's the best deal on the market. And if you're testing the waters, try GoDaddy's website builder free for a month. A free 30-day trial on personal, business, or business plus plans via the GoDaddy website builder offering. Of course, Geek News Central uses all of GoDaddy products and services, and your support keeps this podcast running and alive. Use our codes, use those discount promo codes from GoDaddy and save money and back this independent team of creators. Share my deals with your friends and family, because every time a code is used, it supports Geek News Central. Thank you for keeping us online and going strong. Again, get the latest deals at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Your support means absolutely everything to me. And I definitely appreciate the ongoing support by each and every one of you. So hope everyone's doing well. Back here in the saddle, had a very, very, very full workday. Our third team member that we've added to the Raw Voice Blueberry podcasting team started yesterday. or this actually, well, my yesterday, your today, started, and onboarding, training. So it's exciting for us to expand with this many people this quickly. It's a big undertaking, and integrating them and getting them in the process. And the first two team members are, I would say, about 75% integrated in understanding the process of everything we do. And of course, the new team members just getting started, but very, very exciting. Um, for us, we have some new products coming down the road, and we're going to need every team member possible to help launch those new brands and the things that we've got planned. So, very, very excited. One thing I have looked into here is the renewal cost. So, as you know, I'm here in the Philippines right now, and every 30 days I have to extend my visa. And the visa extension runs about $100 a month. Maybe not as exactly that much, but roughly. And because I'm retired military, they do have the option to get what's called an SRRV visa, which would allow me to basically have a permanent visa, not have to do the extensions. As a little bit of a process to go through. You got to provide your DD 214 and basically prove that you're not a criminal and prove that you have a pension and a few things like that. And so I may look into that, and it really eliminates the need to worry about, oh yeah, I got to make sure that I get my visa extension in, and I have someone do it. They basically have a company here that I go to. I do pay a little bit of a handling fee, but it's better than going standing in line. So it is interesting, when you are a citizen in one country and then looking to attain a permanent visa status in another, what those requirements are, and it's pretty favorable in many countries for Americans. Not all, but some. In some countries, it's very, very expensive. I think the cost here to get an SRRV visa for someone that's a retired military over the age of 50 is like $1,200 deposited in the bank, and then it's like $600 for processing fee or something like that. So it's something I'm looking into. It's interesting, but again, in order to completely engage with it, I have to be here, I believe, between 60 and 90 days straight, not going anywhere, to get that locked in. I think you can do it while you're away, but also you have to be away 60 to 90 days. So anyway, one way or the other, I'm going to look through the process and see what it takes and see where it aligns with my schedule, because 2025 is shaping up to be a very, very busy year, just for the company and everything else that we've got going on here. So there was no video on Friday, and really the option for that is I just woke up so late. I wanted to get the episode out, so that's the reason there was no video. Didn't want to hassle. We've had some dropouts with audio and disconnecting, and so anyway, it was just easier for me to knock um, a audio version only of the show out. So, and I know some people are watching the show on YouTube and looking for the show notes on YouTube. That's fine. But remember, geeknesscentral.com is Moonbase Alpha for this show. You'll always find the full show notes on geeknesscentral.com if I don't completely get all the metadata transferred over. Of course, in my leading story today, the big news is Sora is here. We've been waiting for this for a while. And early this year, Sora was basically introduced. It's a model that can create realistic videos, but they developed a new version of Sora called Sora Turbo that is significantly faster than the model that they previewed in February. So, and it's being released today as a standalone product at Sora.com to ChatGPT Plus and Pro users. And it has a brand new interface. And I have not had time to go look at this, but there's already YouTube videos out about it. It does landscapes incredibly well. That's at least their commentary. And so you can create up to 50 videos at 480p or fewer videos at 720p per month. For those who want more, the Pro plan includes 10 times more usage, higher resolutions, and longer durations. And they're working on tailored pricing for different types of users, which we plan to make available next year. And this version of Sora has, as they're implying, many limitations. It often generates unrealistic physics and struggles with complex actions over long durations. Sora Turbo is much faster than the February preview. We're still working on to make the tech affordable for everyone. They're introducing video generation technology, gives society time to explore possibilities. All Sora generated videos comes with a C2PA metadata, which will identify if video is coming from Sora to provide transparency and can be used to verify origin. While imperfect, they're adding safeguards like visible watermarks by default and built an internal search tool that uses technical attributes of generation to help verify if content came from Sora. And they're blocking particularly damaging forms of abuse such as CSAM and sexual deep fakes. Uploads of people will be limited at launch, but they intend to roll the feature out to more users as they refine their deep fake mitigations. So, and lots of footnotes in this release. So, link will be in the show notes. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. Again, Sora.com, available if you are a ChatGPT Plus or Pro users. Meanwhile, I've had a lot of thought on this. TikTok. TikTok is asking for emergency pause on the looming U.S. ban. Now, whatever you may think, the adage that I've used for many, many years, which has often been poo-pooed, is that building your brand on someone else's platform is always a very dangerous thing. Number one, can the business change? Can the business model change? Can your type of content no longer be in favor? Can your type of content, in a word or two that you say within the content, cause you to be deplatformed? I have just continued to be an advocate of building your brand on your .com and then distribute, but yet people will understand where your content originates, where your website is, so that in case something like this happens, you know where to go. Whereas creators, the millions of creators on TikTok in the United States, it wasn't the company that has had this business model change or deplatforming of content, which is still kind of happening. But the US government passed a law demanding apps sale or ban because what it says are links to the Chinese state. Now, I know someone who is very closely tied to government officials, and they are very, very clear. Do not have this app installed on your phone. If you're a government official and you have potential of having something to lose, you've never went into full detail on this, but they want this app ban to be halted until the new administration takes effect. President-elect Trump has previously indicated he would overturn the law. The public interest favors providing sufficient time for the Supreme Court to conduct an overly review process and the incoming administration to evaluate this exceptionally important case, ByteDance and TikTok said in their emergency legal filing. They even added a temporary ban from earlier 2025 would have devastating effects on its operation. It would be inflicting irreparable harm by silencing petitioners and the 170 million Americans who use the platform each month. So we'll see where this goes. But there probably is, and I have no doubt, based upon my previous job and experience, that there is cause for concern about what TikTok is looking at, the metadata it's collecting, um, and how it's feeding the Chinese government. Let's just be very, very fair in saying that the Chinese state has their hands in everything. They have a lot of hands and stuff in America. They own a lot of property in America. They own controlling interest in companies in America and all over the world. There's some recent dealings that there's been even some potential underwriting of political stuff by the Chinese through subsidiaries in which they own a stake in. So I think we have to be very clear and very understanding that the Chinese state government is about as evil as it comes, and that if you are doing business and are a business that originates in China, you have to do what the government tells you to do. They're going to walk in, have a conversation, give you access to data. That's just a fact. We have to assume that is exactly what is happening. No one that runs a business or has a subsidiary or anything in China can say that the government is not involved. The government is known to steal IP. The government is known to steal processes. This is just known. And to think otherwise is sticking our heads in the sand over the Chinese government. You look at what they're doing. They play the long game. They play the very, very long game. They're very patient. And they're not a good actor. So I understand the reason for the divestment and basically making the entity independent and so forth. Um, I think we can just about guarantee that. With that said, if you have a TikTok account, it's your choice to participate on TikTok and to watch videos and to be potentially manipulated with the understanding that that the Chinese government definitely has their hand on the scale. So it's just like the DJI thing. As much as I love DJI drones, I'm a big, big fan of their drones. You do not digitally have to connect and stream and do things on your drone. You can run your drone, record images, not be connected to the internet, only via the controller. Believe me, if metadata was going back to, if you're allowing metadata to go back to China in DJI, it's the same thing. So I think we just have to be understanding here. And if you want to be realistic of potentially what has happened or what is happening in the world, um, to think otherwise would really be sticking. And people say, "Oh, Todd, you're a conspiracy theorist." No, really, I'm not. I get it, and I've had a lot of years, 35 to be exact, where um, I was able to read the daily briefing boards and have access to information that the normal public would not. And, even though I've been out of that game for a significant period of time and have no more insights per se, I still have a lot of friends and associates and people I know in the tech community. So while we understand that part of the ban is political, we also know, and let's be realistic too, that there's another component to this, that YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all these platforms do not like TikTok. Why? Because they are capturing billions in dollars in advertising. So it's a two play here. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Facebook, TikTok, and Facebook, YouTube, they all want TikTok. They're praying that TikTok goes away. They're not saying anything. I'm sure they've lobbied for this quietly, whereas the government, on the other hand, has got the national security interest going on. So you've got the national security piece. You've got the mainstream media folks, YouTube and Instagram. They don't want them surviving, and they want those dollars back. Believe me, this is a double play here. So TikTok's got a lot going against it. Lots of pressure. So going back to what I said before, if you're a TikTok creator, you better have a plan B. Plan B. Plan B means you better be ready to be divested of your TikTok account. It could happen. I'm telling you. But the question then becomes, why hasn't some budding entrepreneur created a type of TikTok clone why haven't they? Well, there's a simple reason. TikTok nailed the logo that lets you swipe, 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 feeds you, just keeps feeding you a lot of great stuff. I've talked about it on this show. I can find real news, real information about what's going on in the world on TikTok that I can't find on Facebook, can't find on Instagram, I can't find on YouTube. It's just a different model. And so I'm troubled too. Do I still have TikTok on my phone? Yep, I do. So you're saying, well, Todd, you're saying there's national security threat and there's advertising, but I still love the content. So I'm pulled a different way as well. So what's the solution, or is there any? And the next question is, are other countries going to follow? What say you? I want to hear from you. Geeknews@gmail.com is the place to send your commentary. At the same time, we're about to see a turf war. President-elect Trump is on a collision course with the European Union over big tech crackdown. At the same time, you know, this incoming administration has major issues and has had major issues over the alleged silencing of conservative voices and unfair advantage. So in the coming months, Apple, Alphabet, Google, Meta, etc., X could face billions in fines to basically prop up the EU IT machine because of all the insanity that the EU has enacted in the laws. My God, you look what's going on in Britain right now. We're not even talking the EU. You can't even you don't have free speech no more in the UK. Look at what they're doing here. You say something, you have an opinion about someone, and they consider it to be hateful, they're going to come arrest you now or open a case against you. And we know the European Union has insisted its powerful new laws like the Digital Service Act, which governs social media content, and the Digital Markets Act, which targets abuses. This is all coming to a head here. It really is. During President Trump's first term, regulators on both sides coordinated some of their actions against big tech. But really, there is some big fights. The most immediate, of course, may be how to approach the X platform. Musk was a key backer, of course, and they, X is open, and being they're not, it's a platform where you can say what you want now. So, but the EU wants 6% of their a 6% fine because they're saying that X is not tackling illegal content as they define it. You know, I saw something. I think it was Megyn Kelly, and I just happened to run across something she said. It was an interview or something. Megyn Kelly used to be on Fox, and now she's got her own podcast. And um, I think she says the reason that people should really be in favor of free speech and everything that goes along with it, and the rights we have, at least as Americans here in the United States, is we have the right to offend you. We have the right to offend you. You may not like it, but we have the right to offend you. And I think that's saying something. Now, at the same time, words can have actions, words can have consequences. But if I say something that offends you, you have the right to come back and offend me. You have the right to start a lawsuit against me. You have the right to come back and try to cancel me. But at least I have the right to offend you and not worry about someone knocking on my door and write me a ticket or tell me that I have a case open against me because I've offended you. So, Apple's been hit with fines, Meta's been hit with fines of billions of dollars because of the EU's overreach. At the same time, the United States government is looking at constraining Google and being a monopoly. So there's all kinds of going to be fun stuff that's going to be going over here with. But I think we're in an era now where there is going to be a collision course with the EU, number one. I think there's going to be continued big tech battle here in the United States. And undoubtedly, those that left X and have gone to Blue Sky or wherever are now causing Blue Sky all kinds of moderation issues because, hate to say it, there's a segment of people that do not like free speech. They want free speech moderated. And I am the ilk, maybe that's the wrong word. I'm of the opinion that we have the right here to offend people. And I'm not going to do it on purpose, but if you want to, go ahead. The word police are not going to come knocking on the door like they are in the UK. My God, can you imagine? I saw a video recently where there was a guy standing on the street. There was a crime scene in the UK, and there was a reporter, and he was behind the yellow tape, And the police were insistent that you shut off your camera and not record because impeding the investigation. The guy says, well, if I'm impeding your investigation, why don't you have the yellow line 100 feet further away? You have the right to do that. I have the right to stand behind your cordon off and record what's going on. And he said, good man, don't you have the decency? He said, this is going to be all over the news. I'm a reporter. If you don't want me to see the accident scene or what's going on, back us off further. But yet this police officer in the UK got in this guy's face and was like, turn off your camera. This is not, people need to stand up. We're not living in a time where the SAS is coming around and asking for your papers. Maybe that was a wrong term. If I did, I apologize. But again, where's the line? And it goes back to the whole TikTok conversation and YouTube. Do you want to be able to control your message and put things out where you want and not be controlled? I've got a story for later on. It's called about debanking. This should scare the living crap out of you. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But again, what do we want? Do we want to be treated? Do we want the government to be our keepers? And in fact, saying what I have said about China today probably puts me in a big target if I ever were to hub through Hong Kong coming into Asia. Because of their laws, what I say here can be used against me when I arrive in China, Hong Kong or not. That's scary. Same thing's happening a little bit in Europe. Look how the guy got rolled up in France. The Telegram founder arrested in France because they were not living up to moderation standards of France. That's scary as hell. I don't know. Love to hear your comments. geeknews@gmail.com. It's an interesting time. All I'm glad is I have a podcast that can't be deplatformed. That's all I care about. I have an RSS feed, I control it. Yep, I'm on all these other platforms, but guess what? You can still come to back to Moonbase Alpha at geeknewscentral.com. Let's move on. Okay, here we go. Covert Facebook network found targeting Romanian voters. Meta allowed a network of Facebook pages to post more than 3,600 political ads attacking Romanian pro-EU presidential candidate Ilana Lasconi and promoting far-right figures, including Calin Georgescu, in the run-up to the country's election, a report shown. So, again, Facebook having the finger pointed at them. You're allowing your platform for things to be stepped on the scales. I don't know. We'll see. How much can you really do? I guess if you're a big company, you need to have a Romanian speaking division. I guess what are they speaking? Russian? I assume so. Oh, here we go. China. Screw the Chinese. The Chinese opened an antitrust investigation into NVIDIA. NVIDIA's 2020 acquisition of Mellanox and other moves are being scrutinized by the Chinese government Go away. Go away. We know the boom in AI chips has driven Nvidia from a value of under 200 billion to 3 trillion. God, I wish I had owned that stock. And, Chinese regulators say Nvidia, and I should have known better based upon my previous history. Chinese regulators said Nvidia failed to follow agreements to provide new Mellanox products information within 90 days to the chip making firms in the country to avoid a monopoly. At the same time, the U.S. Department is also investing in company for monopoly, mono, okay, for having a monopolistic behavior. So we know that the current administration placed new sanctions on China last week to make it more difficult to produce advanced AI chips. There's also place policy in place now that restricts the capabilities exports by companies like Nvidia. Of course, China has retaliated with new limitations on key mineral exports to the U.S. Again, AI is going to change everything. They know it. They're scared to death. Um, and if they ever invade Taiwan, it'll largely be because of TSMC. That's what I'm thinking. On a more fun note, Nokia gets a new online museum for classic phones and unseen prototypes. So you're going to be able to go online January 15th, and you're going to be able to take a look at, a little bit of Nokia history. I do want to thank all of you that have been the of supporting the show by streaming sats. And supporting through the modern podcast apps, streaming by the minute. It's greatly appreciated. Pestmark has been streaming the show using a modern podcast app, and thank you for your sats per minute. Same thing with Densi and a number of others that have been streaming the show. So thank you so much for that. You too, as a listener of this show, can go over to geeknewscentral.com/insider and become a GNC insider. It's greatly appreciated. We thank you so much for supporting your 2, 5, 10, 15, 20, or $25 a month donation to the show. And of course, I want to thank our two chief. Hey, I'm having a good morning here, destroying the English language, which this word is actually Hawaiian. The Alahi, aka chief donation level at $25 per month. Both Dale Taylor and Dale Taylor and Nigel Cottrell. And I want to thank Andrew Palmer for his Ohana donation of $5 per month. So thank you to three for your donations. I definitely appreciate it. This next article is about Riverside, and I got a love-hate relationship with Riverside, and I won't go into the details, but they just raised another $30 million, which, congratulations to them. But their whole demeanor changed when they got their first big round of money. 30 million? I'm thinking about what I'm doing with my company with existing revenue, and they went out and got 30 million, another 30 million. Where are they spending all that money? So that's the question I have. Hey, if you have a comment on today's show, definitely want to hear from you. If you're watching on YouTube Live or on Facebook or on Twitter, wherever you may be listening or watching the show, please drop a comment. Italy is going to test Starlink in January in a bid to boost high-speed internet. Milan is basically announced, the government has announced they're going to see if Starlink is a viable solution to boosting the role of high-speed internet in the countries. Basically, they're behind, just like they are in the United States. They're going to miss broadband network targets set again by the European Union in their European Union-funded recovery plan. The tests are part of a pilot project. And so there's 450,000 buildings uh, in Italy that need fiber, and they haven't got it yet. Kind of like here in the United States, where they've given all the telcos billions of dollars to expand rural broadband, and they haven't done nothing with it. And they've a few houses here and there. It's again the biggest government scam going, and I guess the same thing's happening in Italy. But Elon to the rescue. You can tell I'm a little spicy today. I don't know. I just woke up that way. Major hospital ransomware breach exposed dated 300,000 patients. Anna Jacques Hospital. And if I pronounce that wrong, Jaqueus, Anna Jakes or Anna Jacques. So again, data breach there. That's nothing new. Of course, the U.S. government is set to approve spending to approve $3 billion in spending to remove Chinese telecom equipment. In other words, they want the Huawei and ZTE gear to be removed in all U.S. telecom facilities. I think this is a good $3 billion spend. Let's get the Chinese government out of our data centers. Reddit has a new AI search tool, helps to find Reddit answers without Google. So Reddit answers are, again, using AI to summarize answers. So this is good. Reddit is understanding the handwriting on the wall. They have to make their platform more viable. They know that Google is not going to be their friend going forward. And so Google is the only quote unquote major search engine that shows recent Reddit results. But Reddit probably would prefer if you did searches right on its platform. I agree. I'm quickly going through my bottle of water here. So sorry for the little pauses. A new leak may have revealed more details about Apple's first smart display. It's going to be supposedly a 6.7-inch OLED screen, and that fits with other companies' small smart displays. The device is rumored to be launching in 2025, and so no one knows what it's going to be called or all the functions it's going to be, but the rumor is this might be a replacement for the HomePod. Time will tell. NATO is planning to deploy sea drones to monitor and protect undersea cables. The fleet will provide enhanced monitoring capabilities. So, with the threat of sabotage hanging over a Western state, NATO is looking to increase its monitoring critical infrastructure, specifically in the Mediterranean Baltic Seas. The fleet is set to launch in June 2025 and likely take advantage of existing systems and tech. Since the Russian invasion of Ukraine, NATO has been bolstering defenses to prepare for any interference on internet, GPS, or communication systems. Yes, GPS can be jammed. So NATO's confident it can deploy already existing tech, such as that of the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet, which uses Task Force 59, the Navy's first dedicated unit for unmanned systems and AI, currently operating in the Middle East. The fiber optic cables handle roughly $10 trillion of daily financial transactions. So, again, maybe Elon to the rescue here. It's true. Someone gets really dirty. All they got to do is cut a fiber cable. Not hard to do, as proved recently. You drag an anchor through one of these things, or even more notoriously, you can cut it in several places. The iPhone 18 lineup could feature a next generation chipset, but come with a higher price. Of course, this is a ways down the road. Apple is reportedly eyeing the 2 nanometer process for the A20 chipset. So we will see where this leads. But again, we'll be into 2026 before anything is announced. Booking.com says make sure if you're sharing your itinerary, make sure that the email that you put in is the correct email. because some people are getting other people's itinerary when you type in the email wrong. It amazes me on a customer support level how many people enter their email wrong on sign up. It's amazing. We're having to go in and probably 10, 15 accounts a week where they signed up and they've entered their email wrong. It's mind-boggling how often it happens. Amazon is offering $25 one-way plane tickets to 5,000 students or young adults between 18 and 24 who have a Prime membership, up to $700 off the ticket's original price. Last year, Amazon offered this deal to Prime student members, but this holiday system, the retail giant expanding the limited offer to those enrolled in its Prime for young adult plan. Again, in their Prime young adult plan, and they're giving away these tickets, helping young students get home for holidays. So at least that appears to be the goal. New domain names such as .shop and .xyz are providing popular for cybercrime because the domains are cheap. Now, some of these new top-level domains are really inexpensive, but some of them are really high. But new generic top-level domains introduced within the last few years currently make 11% of the total domain market, yet the report found they accounted for a third, 37% of cybercrime domains. At the same time, more traditional names such as .com, .net, .org make up more than half of the total domain market, yet account for slightly more than 40% of cybercrime. It's because these new domains, you can sign up for the first year for $1 or $2. That's really the big difference. T-Mobile says T-Mobile customers stay in a lawsuit. It sneakily passes off unfair charges as government fees, and they're specifically going after the RPTR fee. Now, it's called the Regulatory Programs and Telco Recovery Fee. Now, that sure sounds like something official from the government, but it's not. T-Mobile states that the oh my God, RPTR is not a government fee, but rather a fee collected by the company to account for certain costs incurred, such as compliance with government mandates, charges levied by other carriers for delivery of calls, etc. So that fee is as much as $3.49 for each line. And they're saying this is labeled wrong. It should be part of the subscription cost, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if you are a quantum physics dude or dudette, and again, I am going to have to start studying up on this because I'm completely a bit oblivious to what this all means. I know what quantum computing by definition is supposed to be, and what quantum physics is. In other words, you have just a simple device that is not interconnected that basically mimics a movement or a function, or a zero here shows. Anyway, um, Google today introduced its latest quantum chip called Willow, 100 qubits, coinciding with two key achievements. It's called breaking the so-called quantum error correction threshold and posting a new benchmark for quantum performance against classical computing. Willow ran a benchmark task in 5 minutes that Google said would take 10 septillion years, 10 to 24th power on Frontier, which until a few weeks ago was the fastest supercomputer in the world. Wow. So what would have taken 10 to the 24th power on their previous supercomputer was accomplished with Willow, their new chipset. Doesn't say computer, chipset. But I guess what's important here is breaking the QEC threshold is a long sought goal in the community and basically proves it will be possible to build large error corrected useful quantum computers. All right, if someone is a quantum computer guru, you know what everything these terms mean. I'd love a prepper. I'd love a prepper of information on that. Um, it sounds exciting. How's it going to help me tomorrow? I don't think it will, but maybe the world in the future. Norwegian payment service VIPPS has become the world's first company to launch a competing tap to pay solution to Apple Pay and iPhone, following Apple's agreement with European regulators to open up its NFC technology to third parties. Is that going to happen in the United States? I don't think so. I don't think at this point it is or not. This is not a tech article per se, but it goes into some of the stuff I was talking about earlier in the show. Have you heard about debanking? Well, recently noted venture capitalist Mark Anderson kicked off a discussion about debanking in a podcast with his co-founder Ben Horowitz. And in an appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast, the venture firm they founded, A16Z, also published a brief on this topic. The central thrust, quoting A16Z's brief, debanking can therefore be used as a tool or weapon systematically wielded by specific political actors, agencies against private individuals, or in industries without due process. Imagine if the government decided who could or couldn't get electricity merely because of their politics or some arbitrary reason without having to explain, notify, or offer recourse. That's what's happening with debanking. Wow. I've known people to have had their PayPal accounts canceled and seized. That's why I typically keep my PayPal balance pretty low. But debanking means you get basically banned from banking. Think about that. If you had no place to deposit your check or have a digital transfer of your earnings, and I read through this thing. This is a huge article, and it's scary. And a lot of it's tied to crypto in that they don't want crypto to get a bigger foothold. And by the way, crypto set another record high. Bitcoin did. Went to 107,000. So you read through this and don't tell me that doesn't give you chicken skin. Um, it's it's a thing, and it's a problem. Again, is the government have too much control? Who's going to be picking assignments for college courses in the future? Well, AI. UCLA professors are using an AI-powered tool called Kudu to create textbook assignments and more. So, last example, we're passing a threshold here where a professor is having AI create the textbook assignments and teaching assistant resources for her class. Survey of Literature, Middle Ages, 17th century. They're pulling from PowerPoint presentations, YouTube videos, course notes, and other materials. Shouldn't take up more than 20 hours of a professor's time, and they can edit the material afterward. The resulting textbook is available digitally for $25 and can be printed and used with audio readers. So, is it going to help us or hurt us? Or why do we need a professor at all? Why can't the Khan economy, KHAN, why can't they just go to work and build every college course in existence and make it available for free? I'd get behind that. I'd donate to that as long as it was accurate and non-biased. Great way to get students educated. What say you? I think education is going to be upended by AI. I think it's going to be one of the biggest markets that's going to be impacted personally. You know, I, I, I I understand how easy it is to create stuff in AI as long as you've got someone to validate the output, someone that is an expert that has spent their life studying this stuff. I think you have a huge opportunity here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what I want you to do is something very, very simple. If you're not subscribed to the podcast already, go over to geekandcentral.com, follow or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app. We do prefer you use a modern podcast app from podcastapps.com. Fountain is one of my favorites over there. Um, we're trying to change podcasting, and we want your help to move forward with us. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, that's fine. Or if you're listening on YouTube or however you're consuming the show, um, remember where Geek News Central originates at geeknewscentral.com. And you can use the old fashioned email, geeknews@gmail.com, on X at Geek News. Of course, if you're on Mastodon, at geeknews.chat is my Mastodon address. You can always send me a message over there. I am not on Blue Sky. I am staying on X. I'm not leaving. I'm there for the duration. I hope you will continue to support the show with your insider donations at geeknewscentral.com/insider. But been my pleasure bringing you a show. Thank you so much. I'm sure we're going to get some comments on this one. I know I had gotten an email from Sam. Let me find this real quick. Oh my goodness, I should have had this ready. Wrong email account, Todd. Not that one. This one. We go down here. I've got a link for GNC comments. And Sam, oh, he said, Sam sent me an email. He said, "Hey, Todd, you asked if anyone has the Aura ring, OURA. He said, I've had one for about 5 years. He says, it's one of the best investments you can make. The amount of data it collects is incredible. The app that accompanies the ring presents the data in beautiful ways. It syncs the data with the Apple Health app if you permit it to. Highly recommended." So, Sam, thanks for that. I may have to check one out. If you say it's good and it's doing amazing things, I'm going to have to go collect more information. But here's the thing. I don't like wearing rings. And it goes from back working on airplanes for so many years and basically having to take any ring I had on off because rings around electronics and mechanical moving parts ends up with severed fingers. So I don't know. I just got a thing. Um, I'll check it out. There's always new beginnings. But anyway, everyone, thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of the family. Thanks for your continued support of the show. We'll see you next time here on the Geek News Central podcast. Everyone, take care. Bye bye.